Okay, so let's review this Earthrise Soundwave, the one from the Netflix pack. Now this is a lovely looking Transformer with a very lovely face. Let's have a little look. There you can see his face. He does have some light piping. See if I can get the light down for you for that. There we go. I think that looks absolutely wonderful. Here he is from the front. Here he is from the side. And here he is from the back. He's leaning back a bit. I understand that some of you never get to see these other angles from the top. And we'll have a look underneath as per usual. Now the paint apps on this are quite nice, if a little thin. I understand that yellow is a hard colour to paint, although they've done a wonderful job on this front cassette screen here. The Decepticon logo, I believe, is a little on the wonk on mine. I think the bottom tip comes out to the left a touch. So that's interesting. I mean, you wouldn't really notice it unless someone had just pointed it out to you. This bit here has sort of faded a little already. I don't actually know if it's me rubbing that paint off or if it was always like that, but now I've noticed it, I am going to keep an eye on it. The yellow here you can almost see through to the blue behind. However, at arm's length, it doesn't look bad at all, really. The silver is very good. Can't complain about the silver at all. Not a lot of paint on the back, if any. Just more of that gold. Don't know why I was calling it yellow. It is gold, isn't it? The sculpted detail on this gentleman is absolutely superb. The arms here have some wonderful details. I love the sculpted faux buttons on the front here, as the genuine ones are on the back, along with a lot more lovely sculpted details. There's some lovely ridges and things on the back of his head here, and these panels on the inside obviously look a lot like the G1 toy, and they do look very nice indeed. Now there's not a lot of hollowness to this figure apart from inside the arm here. This is probably the worst offender, although that is where the arms fold inside as part of the transformation. The rest of the figure is actually very solid indeed. There's no hollow bits on the back, just a little on the thighs there, and perhaps a bit in the biceps and tricep area there, I might add. Now let's have a look at the joints and articulation. His head will spin all the way around. It will lean forward, it will lean back. The arms do a full 360. They bend upwards and down. The elbow bends. Is there any rotation? Yes, there's some rotation there at the shoulder. And the arms, unfortunately, do not rotate. However, using part of the transformation, those wrists can come inboard. He swivels 360 degrees at the waist, something I myself can't do. The legs go forward and not all the way back, unless you lift his back flap, then I assume they'll go back. Yes, they will go all the way back. The thighs rotate here. The knees do 90 degrees and slightly over 90 on the front. The ankle has a little rock there, in and out. Not a lot, but a little. And I think that is it. The feet do not spin themselves. It looked like that thing was going to move then. There's a little gap in there. Never noticed that. Might be something I have to keep my eye on. Yes, that thing is not super solid on the figure there. You can see the light behind it. Intriguing. Anyway, so all in all, I think the articulation of the Soundwave is very good. Obviously, you could consider that part of the articulation. And can he touch his own? Oh, you could call that part of the articulation, although that's part of the transformation. He can touch his own button with that finger. That is the important part for a lot of you. Touching your own button. Now let's see how much he weighs. Soundwave weighs a massive, you can't see this, 134 grams. Which is considerably more than his accessory pieces. Now, talking of accessories, let's have a look at the accessories that he comes with. Now, he has this rather fabulous looking shoulder cannon, a homage to the original shoulder cannon weapon. I think it's a multiple rocket launcher of sorts, and the detail of that is very nice. I'll just pop that back in his shoulder. He also comes with the two cassettes, Ravage and Laserbeak. He comes with this interesting fold-out weapon, which he can use as a pistol in this manner, or flip it out long ways into more of a rifle-style weapon, which obviously fits into his hand. I'm not actually sure which way around it's supposed to go. It'll fit in that way, or I guess you could spin it for this look. I mean, it's up to you which way you think is the correct orientation, and obviously it can rotate over to create more of a pistol look. Also, regarding weapons, he has these little, flip the hands in, these little wrist blasters. Is that what they are? I don't know what they are. They're not mentioned in the instruction booklet at all, but they flip out, and you have there a sort of wrist blasting pose. Not really sure what they're supposed to be. Maybe they're supposed to go to the top, like so. Maybe they're supposed to be something completely different, and I just haven't got a clue what they are. They look a little bit like skids. Not the Transformer, but like snow skids or something. Anyway, let's put that back. So along with the weapons you saw a second ago, he also has this weapon, which is a extending gun, which I think is the best looking weapon of all his handheld weapons. And he can also hold this one in his hand. I prefer this one as I feel it matches the aesthetic of his shoulder gun there. Also, these two can combine into this rather interesting looking extra long gun. I'm not really sure what the point is of this one. I think maybe he's supposed to hold this with two hands, but the articulation may not allow that. No, I don't think so. I'm not going to risk bending or snapping anything. But yeah, I think the double length gun is not the greatest. The attachment for that shoulder gun does come out. You haven't broken it. It is supposed to do this, although I don't think it's supposed to do this as easily as it does with me. So what I do is I grab it, give it a spin. You can just put this back inside. Pull it apart and mount it back on his shoulder. A lot tidier. Now we've seen him in his robot mode, I feel it's time to have a look at him in his alt mode. So let's get him transformed. And here we have Soundwave in his alt mode, a throwback to his G1 cassette tape player origins. I think it looks fantastic. I really love the look of this guy. I love the colours, and it might be because he looks so much like his original toy, even if that record battery light there just looks like a bit of silver paint. Now, I think that this is a pretty good alt mode. Here it is from the front, and the side and the top, and underneath is a bit where it falls apart, and the rear, I think, has a little to be desired, although who wants to look at the rear of a cassette tape player? The front always did look better. Now, these are the same paint apps as we saw before on the front here, although this time we can see the nice lighter blue on the legs, which I think contrasts very nicely with the dark blue of the body there. Sculpted detail here I think is very nice, including the play buttons, which now are bigger as opposed to the smaller ones, which are now hidden away in there somewhere. My only real gripe is if I catch it right, you can see there's actually quite a lot of hollow in there. You can see all the way through, which I never really noticed at first, and which you can't really see in photos, but you can see when you have the figure in hand. You can see it quite clearly there, and there you can see all the way through. The back is a bit of a backpacky kibbly thing, although like I said before, we can't complain too much about it, and it is supposed to store his weapons. So I think these store in here. And the gun stores in the back, like so. So that is his weapon storage, although this one on the left hangs lower than the one on the right. So if you try and put him down, sometimes he's not entirely straight. He's got a bit of a wobble on him, although that might be because my transformation itself was a bit wobbly. But anyway, only one moving part to talk to you about, and that of course is the tape cassette player, and we all know what that's for, and that is to put our tapes in which fit inside. Lovely. I think that is absolutely incredible. So all in all, I think Soundwave is a very, very nice figure. If most of the reasons for that are because of his robot mode and the nostalgia feeling of his alt mode. I understand that these guys are quite hard to find. I myself paid a little over the odds for this off eBay, however I feel it was definitely worth it. Well worth having in your collection.